Hello everyone, and welcome back to another unboxing video with Yoseka. Today I have a very excited one that I'm very excited to talk about, which is the Sailor Shikiori Sansui series, or Sansui line. So the Sailor Shikiori series is something that we've seen for many years. It was like one of the first videos that I ever did for Yoseka with Daisy. We have a really old video explaining the entire Shikiori series and the meaning behind them and whatnot. So if you're very new to the Shikiori lineup, you can go watch that to see what it's all about. But since that first lineup, I should say, Sailor has released many other releases to the Shikiori series. So we've seen in the past the Sound of Rain series. The Fairy Tale was like one of the older ones. More recently, we saw some about the princesses paying homage to the princesses of this Shikiori 4 season series. And now today we have in front of us the Sansui series, which pays homage to the flora and fauna of the 4 seasons of Japan. So I will just jump right in. We will be talking about the Sansui pens and the Sansui inks because the Shikiori line always has some fountain pens and some inks that kind of pair with each other and relate to each other. So I'm just going to go one by one and show the pen and then the corresponding ink that goes with it, and then I'll talk a little bit about the significance for the colors before moving on to the next pen and ink. So here I have the Sansui pens. So these are the this might be like 4th or 5th series of Shikiori pens that we've seen from Sailor. And these all reference different plants and animals that are seen in Japan during the different 4 seasons. So this one, tsubame, is the one that I will start with. So I'll talk about that along with the inks that they correspond with one by one. So I'll move these aside for now. This is the first one, which is tsubame, and you can see the ink is a little bit of a red color, but I'll start talking about the pen here. So the pen, tsubame, is the name that refers to the swallow. It's actually a bird, and you can see here that the pen is this like translucent, almost like transparent, shiny blue, and then it has this like lighter coloring for the grip section. And so this represents like the wings of the swallow, and this is supposed to represent the swallows have kind of like this more tannish underbelly, like tan reddish colored brown underbelly. So that's what this is referencing, and it's got gold trim on it. It's a very beautiful pen, and this pen represents the spring season in the Shikiori series because swallows are often seen around sunset time in Japan during the spring, and they're often meant to represent like messengers of good fortune. And I love swallows, they're so cute. I mean, if you know me, you know I love all birds, so I was very excited for this one, and it's very cool that it represents the spring season. So going along with the ink, you can see this ink is actually kind of a redder color, and I'll bring out the swatch here. It looks quite like pinkish almost. So I think this was supposed to correspond to the grip section of the pen. So if we see it here, see it looks much more pink when you have it up against like this, next to this reddish color, but otherwise it looks a little bit more brown. So this one is the tsubame swallow pen and ink. So next we have the Komakusa pen, and this one represents summer. The Komakusa pen represents a plant actually. It is also known as a bleeding heart plant, I believe, but in Japan it's known as the Komakusa because kusa means plant and koma means horse, and the plant looks like the shape of a horse's face, like the actual flower looks like the shape of a horse's like snout. So that's what this is based off of, and again it's like a translucent, almost transparent body which has like this very subtle shimmer in it. It might be hard to see the shimmer, but The glitter particles in this are very, very fine. I think they're silver glitter. It's a little hard to tell because of how fine the particles are, and they're surrounded by this dark green transparent body, but it's not super transparent. You can see it's quite dark actually. And then the grip section here is a very pale pink because the main petals of the Komakusa plant is pink. It's actually more of a bright pink. It's got pale and bright pink, but for the grip section, they chose a pale pink. So this is a plant that is seen in the summertime mountains in Japan. So that is the summer season pen. And to match with the ink, this is a very green ink. And I'll show this swatch. You can see it's very green. We did this on the new Sanzen Tomoe River paper for all of these swatches, but often told me actually that if you swatch it on like MD paper or other paper, it looks a little bit more teal. So maybe it matches the bottle a little bit more, because this is like quite a green, but I think it is meant to match the outside of the pen like this. So this green color represents the summer and summer plants seen during the summer season in Japan. So that is the Komakusa pen and ink. Okay, next up we have the Nadeshiko pen, which I didn't realize that's how it's pronounced, Nadeshiko, because if you say it really slowly, it'll sound like Nadeshiko. So I didn't know that, but that's how I'll be saying it from now on. And this is a word that you might be familiar with because the Nadeshiko plant is very popular, I guess you can say, in Japan. It's something that many people know about. So this ink, or this plant, has actually been translated into another ink color in the Sailor Manyo series, and it is again a very like purpley-ish, like bright purple color. Here, the pen, the Nadeshiko Shikiori pen, is more of a pinkish, light pink purple pen, and it's got this pale white grip section. And again, it's a little hard to see, but it's got some very, very fine shimmer particles. This body is just translucent, not transparent like the other previous two pens. It's a very, very subtle shimmer for this like pinky purple pen. And so let's see how it compares to the ink. So this is the Nadeshiko ink swatch, and it's a very like pale purple, which I think matches the pen very well. But if you're familiar with the Sailor Manyo Nadeshiko ink, it's a little bit brighter, a little bit more purple, a little bit less blue than that Sailor Manyo ink, but it's still got some very nice shading here, and it's like this very nice pale lilac color. I guess you could call it lilac, or I guess this is not periwinkle. Yeah, lilac. And this plant actually represents the autumn season in Japan because this flower can be seen blooming a lot in autumn. So that is the Nadeshiko ink and pen. Last up we have the Kamoshika pen, which is a color that I love so much, but I'll show it to you up close. Okay, so this is what the pen looks like up close. Again, it's a translucent body, very subtly translucent. You can see some light passing through it. This one honestly looks, I think, the most opaque out of all of them. As for like the body material, it seems like the least amount of light travels through it. And there's no shimmer in this one, and there's a darker brown for the grip section. This one also has silver trim, and this one, I mean, I love me my browns, I love me my, you know, neutral colors, so I really love this pen. But the reason why I love this pen a lot is actually because it is representing the Sero animal. I think that's like the official name, but it's like an antelope animal that is seen in winter. And this, let me show the ink first and then I can talk about it a little bit more because I think the ink matches it really nicely. So let's take a look at the ink swatch. This is what it looks like. Again, it's another like brown color, but there is a little bit of shading. There's a little bit of shading. Not that this will necessarily come out in your writing. As we can see here, it mostly looks brown, especially if you're writing with a finer nib. But I really love the depth of this color. It's like a chestnutty brown, pale brown. And I love the subtle warmth in this color, but how it still feels like a very natural brown. I'm not sure how to describe it even, because the Kamoshika animal is an antelope. And if you're familiar with the animated movie Princess Mononoke, this is actually the animal that Ashitaka rides on, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me, but I just think that that's such a nice detail, that this animal is, you know, a very well-known animal and is so cute. And this brown color is similar to the brown color of the animal's fur. So this last pen represents an animal for the winter season in Japan. And that is the last pen in the Shikiori Sansui series. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of an overview here. I have the boxes because I feel like the colors of the names were shown. So we've got the inks. These are all the ink colors, which are very beautiful, and these are the pens that they correspond with. So I'll just go through quickly. This is tsubame, which represents the swallow in springtime. This is the Komakusa, which represents the plants of summertime. This is the Nadeshiko flower, which represents the autumn flowers. And this is the Kamoshika pen, which represents the winter animal. So those are the 4 seasons for this Sansui series. I really love talking about the meaning behind all these pens and seeing why they chose these colors, and especially, like, I love swallows, I love birds. So I was really happy that they included that here for one of the seasons. And I think in this series, I really see the matching of the inks and the pens. Sometimes in past seasons, it's kind of hard to draw that connection, but I think it's a very, congruent layout here. So this is the full Sansui lineup, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please let me know which pen is your favorite, or if you already have one of these pens. We had the pens get released like slightly before the inks here in America, so you might already have one of these pens. So please let me know if you already have one or which one is your favorite. I think if I had to choose my favorite for the ink, it's definitely this Kamoshika ink. It's a very, very lovely brown, and thinking of the antelope fur, I don't know, it's just very heartwarming and it makes me feel very warm inside. Even though it's the winter season, I'm like, anytime is a good time for like a fuzzy friend like animal. I also really love the pen, but I might have to say just the essence of the swallow, I feel like, is really captured in this pen with the transparent body and the lighter brownish reddish grip. It really makes me think of the swallow, which I love birds, so there's no getting around this one. So those are probably my top picks for this Sansui series, but please let me know yours in the comments, and feel free to let me know any extra history if you know anything else about these pens or inks and the Sansui series in general. I would love to hear them and read the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!